Hi there. Today I'm going to do a bit of a product review. Something arrived at the House of Eldridge that really caught my fancy, and it's a new brand. It's due here in the UK in February and the rest of the world I think around the same time. It's by a makeup artist called Ellis Faas. What's interesting about this range, and the reason I want to talk about it, is because her concept is very different from everyone else's. It arrived in a quite large pot like this, and the idea is that the range, everything is liquid in the range, and it fits inside here, so that it's all different pens. Now the bases come in pens like that, and all the eyes and lips come in slightly slimmer pens like that. The idea being that every woman's makeup bag is a mess, and your handbag is a mess, and you tend to just chuck stuff around, you never find it, and you end up with a whole bag full of makeup. And by having something like this and buying into this concept, you're going to be able to keep everything in one place and keep it really clean and tidy and neat. Now, as somebody who has worked myself on many brands, and I've designed brands in Japan and in the UK, so I'm used to sort of working on packaging and working on new product development and textures and things, I can really appreciate what must have gone into designing this brand. Not just the packaging, but the technology to make these pens a reality. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do my whole face with just what I've been sent. So I've got two eye products. I have a foundation, a concealer, a lip product, a cheek product, and a mascara, which is all going to fit into my little case there. And I'm just going to see if it's possible, really, to get a great face on. I'm going to start with the foundation. I think they must have looked at a picture of me because the colour seems to be pretty good for my skin tone. Now, it's quite expensive. I can appreciate why it is, because the amount of work and effort that's gone into the design of these products, plus the textures, which you're going to see in a minute, are really, really lovely. I've been sort of playing with them. So here goes. It's quite a nice sheer foundation, so it's not going to be a pore clogging one. It feels really quite moisturising, but quite light. That's the foundation, so it's nice and fresh and quite light, and I like the way it looks. It's got quite a dewy texture to it without being too greasy. Next I'm going to use the concealer. The concealer is the same shade as the foundation in this case, so I'll give this a go. You can wash the brushes, and you'll need to as well, because they're going to get really dirty and quite smelly otherwise. So in between every couple of uses you should definitely give those brushes a wash. And then you just click once. It's a little bit like your normal under eye concealer pen. I just want to see if it's capable of covering blemishes as well. Can it cope with this post-Christmas spot that I've developed? Yeah, it's quite good coverage actually. For something that's so sheer, it's not bad coverage at all. Okay, I'm not going to go mad, I'm just going to do a pretty quick face today. On to the eye products. I've been sent two. The eye products come in two textures, the eyeshadows. Both are liquid. One is called Milky Eyes and the other one's called Creamy Eyes. The difference being that the Milky Eyes are much more sheer. I'll show you on the back of my hand. So the Milky Eyes has a sort of sponge applicator, and that gives quite a sheer coverage. Whereas the Creamy Eyes has a brush and has a lot more coverage. You can see there. That's the Creamy Eyes. I'm going to use the stronger one. I'm going to use the Creamy Eye one and do a more dramatic eye. So you can see the payoff is great. As soon as it hits the eyes, you get full coverage and great colour. I'm not going to use any pencils or anything because they're already in the range, but I have to say this colour and this texture would look amazing with some black kohl pencil really smudged in. I think it'd work really well if you had a couple of colours as well, because the texture would sort of melt into each other and it'd be really easy to blend them. Okay, next I'm going to use the mascara. You have to sort of look at the end to see what everything is. They have different colours, especially when they're in your container, otherwise there's no way of knowing because they all look absolutely identical on the outside. So I'm going to use the mascara. I haven't used this before. It's got a really nice, elegant wand, really long and slim. And I can see that it's a very lengthening and separating type of mascara. So it's a sort of good all-rounder. I think this is the only mascara in the whole range, so it's a sort of classic lengthening. Okay, so next I'm going to use the blusher. Again, it's a liquid. It's got a little sponge doe foot applicator. Just going to put a couple of blobs on there and just blend that in. That feels really easy to blend. I'm just going to put a little bit on the apples of my cheeks and take it up slightly. It's a nice colour and goes in really well. I do like working with all these creamy and liquid textures. So nice just to sort of get your hands in there and really work and blend, and it feels good. I really like this blusher. I can see this is going to go into my personal kit. So next I'm going to use some powder because my skin's looking quite shiny. Most foundations, I mean that's a pretty lovely foundation, but I need powder with everything because of my oily skin. So the powder comes in the top and you just take it off, and it's hiding in there with your mirror. So technically you should be able to do your whole face when you're out and about. I'm not going to use the little sponge that comes with it just because it'll go on too heavy for me. I'm just going to use with a brush. That's a nice powder, it's not too cakey. Now last but not least, the lips. I've only been sent one shade. It's one of the sheerer textures. Again, there's actually 3 textures with the lips. There's the milky lips, the creamy lips and glazed lips. And they increase in intensity of pigment. So the creamy lips are full on pigmented colour. The milky lips, which is what I've got, is a sort of stain tint, and the glazed lips is a lip gloss. This is in red, but as it's sheer, I'm just going to put a tiny amount on, and I'm going to put it on really as naturally as I possibly can. Okay, so I've done my face, my capsule face, and I'm ready to pack up. I'll show you how it all goes. The base goes in the middle. Your eyes and lips go around the edge. They do have eyeliners, which I haven't got, which go on liquid but dry to a matte powder texture. So what's quite nice is that you can decide what you want to put in here. So if you wanted, for example, to have a liner and 3 eyeshadows and a concealer, you could, or you could have 4 lipsticks, 1 concealer and 1 eyeshadow. You can sort of mix and match from the whole range. And then on the lid goes, and that's it. I do have a slight criticism. This is pretty heavy. I think that's too heavy. The combination of the container plus all of the products inside, that's quite a weight to be carrying around. I don't know if that would suit me particularly. I think it's a great range. I think it's an interesting range. I think if you appreciate objects and beautiful design and interesting concepts, I certainly love all the textures. I would definitely invest in some of the pens, particularly love the blusher. That was really lovely, and also the creamy eyes, because once they're on, they don't come off. So overall, I'd say this is definitely a range that is worth checking out. Have a look at the other colours and check out the whole range.